and I attended St. Bernard's Middle School in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. I am still a Catholic to this day. Afterward, I attended and graduated from Dayton High School in 1963. Coming from a large family, my brother Richard and I started working after middle school, stocking shelves at local grocery stores to help support the family. After high school, my first real job was working for Wiedemann Brewery in Newport, Kentucky. I worked in the office of the shipping department. I was only an average student in high school, but my favorite subject was accounting. And after I started working at Wiedemann, I enrolled in accounting classes at the University of Cincinnati, attending late afternoon and evening classes. My desire was to get an associate degree and then go on to become a CPA. During high school and afterward, I started chumming around with one of my best friends to this day, Tom Ahrens. Tom attended Newport Catholic High School. He then introduced me to some of his friends who went to school there. Before long, we had formed a bond and started hanging out together all the time, and we called ourselves the TRG, Thunder Road Gang. Bill Vonderhaar, Bill Hughes, Rick Vollmer, Roy Voorhees, Mike Fife, Tom, and myself. After a while, several more of their friends joined us, John Becker, Steve Sainer, and Ken Heilberg. There was nothing bad, mischievous, or arrogant about us. We were just cool, and none of us got in trouble with the law, though I was lucky several times with the way I drove my car. Every time I hear the Beach Boys song, I Get Around, with the lyric, "The bad guys know us and they leave us alone," I think of TRG. Then there were the girls that we used to hang out with. Darlene, Judy, Sue, Barbara, Kathy, and others. After a while, they started calling themselves the TRGettes. Those were certainly very fond memories for me. Getting back to my first real job at Wiedemann, I really liked working there for several reasons. It was a great place to work. The company paid for my college tuition at UC if I maintained a C average, which I managed to do, and lastly, free beer. Even though I was only 18 and the drinking age in Kentucky was 21, nobody ever said anything. Occasionally, I would have ice-cold beer. Every office had a refrigerator full of beer, and for the workforce out in the bottling plant and elsewhere, there was the tap room. It was staffed with full-time bartenders, and each employee got a 5-minute beer break every couple of hours. Kentucky was mostly hot and humid in the summer, even more so for those working in the bottling plant area. Everything was on the up and up if the employees behaved themselves and did not get intoxicated. The other cool thing for me was on Friday and Saturday nights, before the TRG headed out looking for girls. I would bring the guys down to the tap room for a couple of beers. Nobody ever objected. In addition, during my second summer at Wiedemann, after work on Fridays, I would often buy 2-quarter barrels of beer for the beach parties that we would throw on the weekends on the banks of the Ohio River. I would have bought a half-barrel, but I couldn't lift one into the trunk of my car. Another plus, I was buying beer at wholesale prices. Fortunately, I was very lucky. We never got into trouble with the law, but still, being underage, I could have got not only myself but Wiedemann in big trouble. Finally, I came to my senses and stopped buying beer at my place of employment. Back in those days, we never had any trouble buying a case of beer at the local stores and bars anyway. That's just the way it was back in the 60s. I never fully realized it while goofing off in those days and before Vietnam became the big issue, but the area we frequented in and around Newport, Kentucky, was nationally known as Sin City, USA. Apparently, there was a lot of organized crime in Newport, run by the local mafia, but we, or I, just didn't realize it. There were a couple of times while out with the guys having a beer or two, when John Becker and I would race our cars, his '54 Chevy and my '55 Ford, and it is truly a wonder that I am still alive today because of my stupidity. The one event that I will never forget was when somebody dared us to race. I had Rick Vollmer with me. John had someone else with him. The road coming from Fort Thomas into Newport was somewhat downhill, and at the bottom it turned, first right, then left. Both cars were nose to nose, with neither one of us willing to give up the race, with trouble just ahead. At the first turn to the right,